This week, I made a super easy one-day project making bookmarks out of scrap wood. These are great for gifts. I started by picking out a couple of scrap pieces of curly maple out of a cut-off pile I had. I also demolded a bookmark I made using some excess epoxy. After I had all the pieces I wanted, I took them over to my miter saw and squared off one end. I then used some old bookmarks that I hadn't finished to mark out where the best location would be for the new ones. I ended up making most of the bookmarks roughly 1 3/4 inches by 7.5 inches long. I ripped them all down to width on my table saw. I then used my bandsaw to resaw the thicker pieces into thin strips. Next, I cut them down to final length on my miter saw. Because I had so many bookmarks and didn't want to stand forever, I decided to use my planer to get them down to their final thickness. Because my planer will not plane as thin as I needed, I glued them down to a super flat piece of plywood and then sent them all through at once. This saved me a ton of time instead of having to feed them in one by one. The one mistake I made on this project was not planing them enough. Mine were probably around 1/8 of an inch, but I would suggest going down to closer to 1/16 before sanding. After removing all the pieces from the plywood, I used my belt sander to remove any residue of glue left over and get them down a little thinner. The last thing before finish was to use some 240 grit sandpaper to knock off any sharp edges or rough areas on the live edge. I applied a generous amount of cutting board mineral oil to all the bookmarks, giving them at least 20 minutes to soak it in before wiping it off. I repeated this process twice. As I said at the start of the video, this project only took me one day and is great for gifts. I hope you enjoyed watching me make this project. It was super fun and easy to do. If you enjoyed watching, please consider subscribing, as my next week's video will be of a super cool epoxy coffee table.